Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, as well as our guest lecturer members Vite Ramen and Full Grammar Alchemist. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will, including an online Grand Prix, to your favorite ever live Force of Will vodcast. It's Office Hours featuring myself, DMO73, and Paul is currently on a plane on the way back from Polar School, so he'll be joining us shortly, but he doesn't have good signal in the air. His private jet from Polar School is a little delayed, but he'll be here shortly. Today we're going to be talking about spoilers. We got some stuff. We got 3 rulers to talk about. I know the description says 2, but then Valentio got spoiled today. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about kind of our takeaways from this weekend's event if we've got time. And we're also going to start continuing our conversation that we had before on yesterday, about ban lists and those kinds of things. So we're going to go with that and talk about those elements here. But so I don't want to dig too much into spoiler stuff until Paul gets here. So for right now, let's just open it up with a little AMA kind of style stuff. Feel free to put your questions in the chat. Happen to be here for you. Stranger Jank, the game needs to do away with Untouchable. The Zero games were unbearable to play against. All had interactions, but the fact that all had Untouchable was meaningless. A game based on interaction won't be. So I'll put this to a point of, I honestly think the only thing that's actually problematic about Zero is how quickly and how much she abuses Gravestone, which is why, if you heard my discussion before, Gravestone is the thing that I want hit out of the game just in general. I think if you take away that piece, then she is just a generic, like, pretty interactable stun deck. Like, a lot of her tools can be very easily answered. It's the fact that I think the thing that Zero does that puts her at a position of maybe she's just too good or overtuned is her ability to starve out the opponent resource-wise while applying a stun element, not just the stun elements. So I think if you take away that starving element, there's a lot of easy enough ways to mess with Untouchable, and a lot of ways to mess with her cards in such a ways that she can get really struggle. I think we saw some elements of that actually in the feature matches. We saw both decks kind of like with their zeros dead, with like how do they find lethal, like there is a point where you can starve out Zero. Zero tries to avoid getting starved out by locking you out of resources and kind of ramping ahead while doing so. So she just kind of snowballs higher. So if she doesn't have the ability to lock you out of resource-wise, then she is incredibly interactable, in my opinion. I just think that's a piece there too. That being said, I mean, I think she is a good deck, and I can understand why people typically don't like playing against stun. It's typically never been something that's been particularly enjoyable for people. So I get it. I get your perspective, Stranger Jank. I don't think. I think if her cards didn't have Untouchable, then she would be unplayable. Personally, it is the fact that she gets to have buffered things and can play a black-white core that and not have to worry about playing cancels, or not have to worry about being canceled, and get her stuff to resolve, that I think is what allows her to be in the environment. There's just some elements of her that need some trimming, which I think is fine. Again, feel free to put any comments in the chat. I had a great time watching this weekend. We had a great diversity of decks. Looking at the deck results from Minnesota, Ruchiel, Umir, Luminaries, Lucy, like between the U.S. and between the U.S. and Germany, we had quite a diverse environment of decks that were able to be competitive and successful, which was pretty cool. And I think it's just a good indicator of the overall health of Wanderer as a whole. But I think it should always be your mission to strive to further improve an environment, not necessarily just let it be and say like, oh, this is good enough. I don't think any format should ever be considered good enough. I think we should always be striving to make it better. That's my piece. So yeah, that's my piece there. Any other questions in the chat? Oh, I do want to put out some just kind of housekeeping pieces here. As a reminder, you can go get your pre-orders in for Descent into the Raven's Catacombs down below through Odyssey Games. You also should be putting your information together for hopefully you can join us in the Caseyville Event Center for the Caseyville Event Center on August 15th and 16th, I believe, that weekend for the last Paradox GP of the United States season so far. The last currently publicly announced GP of the season, so probably the last GP of the season. I don't know. And certainly not the last event of the season, because we'll be having a Discord event over on the Ruler School server sometime in September for our circuit kit. Get those back up and running. And your locals might be doing a circuit kit as well with the number of kits that we sold. So that's exciting. But it's going to be a Paradox GP, 3 invites as usual, and we have been informed that the day 2 side event is going to be updated. It's going to be Wanderer. It is going to be a Wanderer side event on day 2 with an unpaid invite to Worlds to first place. So I'm probably playing in that, which I'm pretty excited for. My goal is once again get to finals, concede immediately, which is going to be fun. Sorry, clarified, Alejandro, that it's certainly not the last GP of the season. I think it's the last currently known GP for the United States. So France, Spain. Playing in the event for the matchup I played against me on Prissy and my Fate Trigger was the most important thing. I needed to do stuff against my opponent. Yeah, potentially here. Jeremy's eating. I'm trying to eat the invite. No, for sure. Paul has landed off of his plane, his private jet coming back from Polar School. Glad you made it safely. Glad you landed safely. How was your flight?
Lots of wheels, man.
Lots of wheels?
Okay. I was grounded the whole flight.
You were grounded the whole... Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I was grounded the whole flight.
Stranger Dank...
Almost like I was in a car.
So crazy. Stranger Dank, it's not playing a deck differently, though. If you have the interaction to counter a card that 0 played to let your stuff land because it has untouchable, I'm not able to answer that said card in that instance. Sure, but I think that gives an experience to diversify your interaction. Right? I think that untouchable is an existing piece. I think it's important to diversify interaction, to not just be not letting something resolve. We talked about the lack of things like Epiphanic Priests or attack orders. Like, we've talked about that before. I think it's important that and we have the tools to be able to diversify, whether between just mainboarded or mainboard and sideboard, diversify your interaction with your opponent so that you can be flexible. I was just telling exclusive info as Spanish TO as the okay, sure, fair enough. So that's just my thoughts there. But Paul, we were just doing a little AMA elements here before we jump into spoilers, and now that you're back, we can jump into spoilers. Unless you have any kind of thoughts off the cuff from this weekend.
Let's spoil. As far as spoilers go, sorry. So far as this last weekend goes, tournament report is going to come out this week. We're working with Nibelungen to just try and get all of the deck lists from the recent German GP that happened over this past weekend too. Sweet. So as we get that out, you guys will see them. Everything else is going to be on the Ruler School TCG.com website. So check that out.
Check it out. Okay, so let's jump in. We got Linka. First class cook Linka Divinity 1. As the game starts, she gets 4 fruit counters. You can only play 1 spell or non-will activate ability per turn, not both. At the end of your turn, you remove your turn specifically, you remove a fruit counter from them. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on herself and on 1 resonator. If there is a resonator on board, you would have to put it on there. So if your opponent, because it's not up to 1. Then if you put counters on a resonator this way, you draw a card. Otherwise, you lose 2,000 life. So to be clarified, that otherwise you lose 1,000 life is if you can't remove a fruit counter. That's where the parentheses is kind of like in the frame of that sentence. So remove a fruit counter or lose 1,000 life. And then if you remove a fruit counter, do these other things. Her judgment is green and white, only if you control a card with Pact, which is going to be everybody's judgment currently. And we judgment over into Linka, the hungry demonic chef. Base stats
Ugh.
base stats 6/6, but you have to remember that she's going to be gaining 2 +1/+1 counters every single turn. So she's probably going to be coming in on average. It's like a 12/12, like minimum. Divinity 3, Pierce, Barrier, total 2 cost or less. It's a great. It's a fantastic barrier number for her to have as a J ruler. As this card enters the field, put X fruit counters on it, where X is 6, so she goes back up to 6, reloads. At the end of your turn, remove 2 fruit counters from this card. If you do, put 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Otherwise, you lose the game. And then pay white or green and expel a card from your hand and remove 2 fruit counters from her. This card gains +400 and Defiant 2 until end of turn. So that's a lot. That's a lot. I would like to point out that you can, if you've got the will, you can do that stack up twice in one turn. Like, it's not limited to hard once per turn. And she doesn't have the limited to how many numbers of spells she can play on this side. I strangely think that Electra's Training is going to be played in Linka decks so that she can get swiftness. Seems pretty good as like a flip turn, because like she's gonna be huge. And with Defiant, like, that's a lot of damage. Anthony Lazinski, sorry, what's Defiant? So Defiant is this J/Resonator doesn't have to tap to attack, and it can attack up to X times the number in Defiant. So Linka doesn't have to tap to attack and can attack twice if she has Defiant 2. I would also like to point out that Defiant stacks, as far as we know. So if we do paying 2 and removing 4 counters, she'll gain +800 attack and Defiant 4 until end of turn. So then she can attack 4 times.
That's the word from Alejandro a while ago.
And my girl has Pierce. Yeah. So like, it's a lot. It's a lot. Very interesting. Linka is we haven't had a green-white ruler in quite some time. She feels like she's playing in a similar. She is going to be probably heavily Resonator driven, I think, because she wants to put stuff on her own stuff. But she's also like a Voltron kind of deck in the sense that like she is probably the primary win con of this deck, right? Nero flipped and then like made a bunch of tokens, and then the tokens were probably what killed you. Linka is probably the thing trying to deal the lethal damage in this deck, if you want to play her that way, that she's going to flip. Otherwise, if you're not using Linka to kill, I don't think you're judgmenting Linka as a whole. Is that a fair position to put? Because she's better as a draw engine on her front side, and you don't risk losing the game.
Yeah, I'm a little. I think she is a win con on her flip. I think she's actually probably one of the last win cons, because once you flip her, she gets 6 fruit counters. So unless we get more ways to add fruit counters to her on her flip side, I'm not.
Which we do.
I'm not sure I feel comfortable
Which we do.
Flipping. Did we do?
Yeah, so the other cards, we'll go into them here in a second. You have ways to put fruit counters on stuff.
So that's why I'm a little iffy on flipping. Yeah. So if we have good efficient ways to add fruit counters,
maybe I'm misreading stuff.
Yes,
I think we have a way to put fruit counters on. Hold on.
I think there is a way, but it's not super efficient.
Carlina does. She just taps and puts a fruit counter on a J/ruler you control.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah. We'll talk about that, I guess.
Let's go into Carlina. Speaking of,
let's talk about Carlina.
Carlina, the cooking grandma, baker human, 3 cost 2/6 with drain and flat barrier. Reunited with Linka or Carlina, she adds 2 to the number of additional spells or non-will activate abilities you can play in the turn. And we finally learned what Time for a Picnic does. Nearly 2 years after it was teased, we got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And it's honestly really good. Time for a picnic at the end of turn, so either player's turn. If you don't control an entity that shares a name with this card, put this card from your hand into the field. Each turn, only one Time for a Picnic ability triggers per player. And she can tap, pay white, or pay green to put a fruit counter on a J/ruler you control, recover it, put a +1/+1 counter on each J/resonator, and then play this ability only once per turn. So, yeah.
Core enabler.
Yeah.
This is your core enabler.
Yeah, this is your core enabler.
And,
you're probably going to play at least 4 copies of this.
Yeah, play 4 of this. Be aware she does have barrier, so she can die to things like Hellfire, Light Lightning, Epiphanic Priests. That's a little unfortunate, but otherwise, she's going to stick around, which is really, really good. And she has Drain.
Yeah.
The counter thing is it actually gets to be placed on Carlina too.
Yeah,
so that's really helpful.
Yeah, because it can be she gets her own +1/+1 counter whenever she taps, right? So the best part about Carlina is the fact that Time for a Picnic is during both players' turns. So like if you're going second, right, as Carlina, and you put out Carlina, if you're going second as Linka and you go to your turn, you could cheat out Carlina during your opponent's turn, right? Go to your turn, turn 1, and then we could Call Stone with Carlina, and then Call Stone with Larinka, and then like use Carlina to recover her and do something else. Namely to note though, this is a little bit grosser, I think, with Carlina, because Carlina produces will for things. So doing a Carlina at the beginning and end of your opponent's turn when you're going second does mean Carlina has 4 will on turn 1.
Oh, so that's why we lost 1 will.
Yeah.
So we could just have 2 anyway.
Yeah. Well, is it 1? Is it 3? It might be 3 will. Maybe I'm wrong there.
I think it's 3 will.
I think it's 3 will. Anyway. But I will note that this is not locked to solo mode. So if you're tagging with Carlina, it is 4 will, because you can go Call Stone with your partner. Call Stone with your partner. Carlina taps to produce. Carlina taps to recover Carlina. Carlina taps to produce coin, 4 will. So that's the thing.
There you go.
Yeah, Stone, Will, Carlina, and Grandma. Yep. Yeah, for sure. If you have multiple Cardinal Granny, does the cast stack? Yeah. Yep. The if you have 2 Carlinas out, you get an extra 4 casts per turn. Yep. For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of will potential. I will note also that 4 will is Castle of Carlina. So that's a thing.
And other Carlina spells.
And lots of Carlina spells. This card is really good. Like I think it's helpful for Larinka because it lets you keep those fruit counters up and like be fine spending them. But I think this card is really, really good for Carlina, just in general. The +2 extra, essentially in the beginning of the game, having 2 additional casts or activate abilities in the early game that are non-will activate abilities is like you're playing the same game as your opponent. It immediately is just like, oh, the downside of Carlina is gone. Like, okay. And the fact that it continually gets to come out for free is just like, oh, okay, that's kind of crazy.
So the 2 additional spells or non-will activate abilities per turn, that should also be cumulative, right?
It is.
So if you have 2 of these on the field, you can play 5 spells or activate abilities per turn. No problem.
Yeah, very easily.
So we can just make a Girion.
I will note that Carlina now only can produce will 4 spells with Carlina in their name. She can't be used for any spells now. So
this is true.
That's an important note to have here.
Can we errata Girion to say Girion Carlina's pet?
Yeah, that would have been nice. Let's talk about the other card that has Time for a Picnic. This is Grandma Carlina's Culinary Glyph. So again, another card with Carlina in its name. You may play 1 additional spell or non-will activate ability per turn. Time for a Picnic. It cheats in. Divinity 7. And also does say that you can put it from your hand or rune area. So this means that Linka will start with one of these. You probably will have this in your rune deck as Linka 100% of the time. Like, it's free, right? And then solo mode, which is pretty much exclusively for Linka, because I don't think you're ever going to play solo mode Carlina. That feels unnecessary. Mythic and Barrier, taps to produce green or white. Spend this will only to play spells with Carlina in its name or with total cost 4 or more. You know, like Girion.
Oh, Gary. He's back.
So, like, sure.
So based on what we understand about rune rules, at the end of turn, this would have to be revealed in the rune deck in order for the time for the picnic to happen, or not?
I don't think so. I think you could say, like, trigger from rune deck, time for a picnic, reveal, cheat into play. Because specifically how this is worded, Alejandro can correct it. Not reveal, you have to show it. Yeah, so essentially you'd have to be like, trigger time for a picnic from rune area. Resolves, put it into the field.
Gotcha. Okay, so we don't have to reveal this as a rune to get this time for a picnic effect.
Yeah, I think
right?
I think the trigger.
That's great.
I think the trigger would be like, I flip this up to show you this is what's triggering, and then put it in the field.
Okay, if that's how that works, amazing.
Yeah. This one, I think Carlina will play this because it is just another way for her to get more activate abilities, but I think probably at like a 2 of. I think Carlina is the better one for her. I think you put like 4 Grandma Carlina and 2 of this. But I think this one is like an auto include in Linka just because it can come from rune deck. So it's just better. No, if the trigger doesn't resolve, it stops being shown, so it's still face down in the rune area. Oh, cool. So it just, until it resolves, it's just going to stay there. Great. Speaking of other pets, this is You're Wrong, which is a anagram of Girion.
Wait.
It's little baby Girion. Pet of the class. Mythic it's a 4-drop, 11/11 with Flying, Pierce, and Drain. Your opponent cannot play spells of total cost 2. God's Art Friendly Hug for 1 white and 1 green, and revealing it from your hand. You can destroy an addition of total cost 2, or cancel a spell with total cost 2. Rune solo mode. If you have a green rune and a white rune revealed at the end of your turn, remove a fruit counter from a J ruler you control. If you do, put 4+1/+1 counters on this card. Otherwise, it deals X damage to you, where X is the attack of this card. So there's a lot of Carlina's cards or Linka's cards do seem this, like, if you can't keep them fed, they're going to then turn on you, which I think is a cool, like, approach, right?
Well, it's interesting too because this solo mode effect makes him the stats of Girion, which is funny. Nice little flavor there.
Yeah, he evolves a little bit. I have some other cards.
Pokemon in our Force of Will.
And I can't find them. Hold on. One sec. Because there are a couple other cards. I gotta do this way, I think.
I see you, Alejandro. I see you.
Because I don't know.
I see what y'all are doing over there.
Those images didn't load for some reason. Hold on. Because there's 2 more Carlina cards that I have to, or Linka cards that for some reason decided not to save image as. Don't save it. Oh, gosh dang it. They saved weirdly, and so XSplit isn't enjoying them right now. Hold on, I'll do them this way. Because there's the pig.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll do it this way. This will be smarter. Yeah. I'll just do this. Hold on. Add source. Smart selection. We'll just do them like this. And then I'll get rid of it. Just save ourselves some time. So this is a Grade. Carlina's Truffle Hog. Big old pig. 3-drop Beast Pig. You can pay a white or a green and reveal it from your hand and keep it revealed until the end of the turn. Put a fruit counter on a J ruler. And then up to 1 target J/resonator gains +4/+4 until end of turn. Outnumber. So if you have more resonators than your opponent, and this one and at least 1 more, and you have more than your opponent, Enter, remove a fruit counter from a J red dealer you control. If you do, search your deck for a card with Carlina in its name, reveal it, and put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and this card gains Pierce until the end of the game. Pretty good.
4 of.
Probably an auto 4 of. Yeah, probably.
4 of.
It's the consistency piece for sure. And then the next one is the exquisitely flavored baked pie, which has Carlina's hunting in addition to its owner's name. So keep in mind you can then search for it. You can then also produce will for it to be able to use this card. It is Divinity 2. If you are reunited with Linka or Carlina, it gains Quick Cast. It's a 2+X spell. Remove up to X target resonators of total cost X plus 1 from the game. Choose 1. If X is 2 or more, choose 2 instead. And then X, you gain X plus 1 life multiplied by 5, or put X plus 1 fruit counters on a J ruler. So let's imagine for instance that we are paying 3 for this spell. Then we get to remove up to 1 2-drop resonator from the game and either gain 1,000 life or get 2 fruit counters. If we pay 4 into this card, then we get to remove 2 3-drops from the game, and then we gain 1,500 life and get 3 fruit counters. It's a lot. I think this is played in both Carlina and Linka, to be perfectly honest, because of the fact that it will gain Quick Cast and then has Carlina in its name. So more spot removal for Carlina, which is great, because before she was trying to use the inheritance cards for her spot removal, and now she can't. So this is a nice kind of alternative for her.
Yeah, I think you definitely play one of these in the rune deck. Maybe like
it's only Divinity. It's only Divinity 2. Like, it's very.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Very cheap, very effective.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in this pie? Which of her classmates is in the pie?
I mean, it's Grandma.
She put Grandma in the pie?
I mean, go read the lore articles. Please.
Grandma's in the pie. Oh, God. Okay.
Grandma Carlina is, she ate her grandma. Or she cooked her grandma. Sorry, apologies. She cooked her grandma. She didn't eat them. She's a vegetarian.
Yeah, but Justin here is like, oh wow, Grandma tastes great.
Yeah, the artwork for this card is really unsettling because of the but I kind of like that it's unsettling because of the flavor of oh yeah, this is a people pie.
Oh, yeah, they don't. It's
They don't know. They don't know. They know this. They don't know. I know this trick. Cook a grandma in a pie.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sweeney Todd energy in my force of will. I like it.
I really like this. I hope. I mean, I obviously think that we will probably see potentially more Let's Have a Picnic cards over the course. Like, Carlina is a character of the cluster, right? So I imagine she will continue to be supported in some way, shape, or form throughout the cluster, which therefore means Carlina is getting additional support throughout the cluster. I think this breathes life into both Carlina and Linka. Linka will be fun to explore from her perspective, but also let's go back and explore Carlina. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of really cool cards, and playing high cost resonators is really nice. I'm excited. It's cool stuff. It's a cool vibe. I will probably be the one playing it for the channel because Paul doesn't want to.
Well, I was going to say, you are a huge fan of Carlina.
I am a Carlina.
So this just makes sense.
A huge fan of Carlina. So yeah, I'll probably be playing it.
Oh, cool. We're getting more Time for a Picnic and soon.
There you go. I love it. Even more Carlina support. Which probably means so I will point this out too. We have made the decision that once Evil Cluster drops, our primary feature matches for the time being, upon the release of a new set, will be Paradox focused, with deck profiles then talking about with deck profiles also talking about how to expand it in Wanderer. So my thought for the Carlina profile, or the Linka profile, will be I'll play Linka in Paradox, and then the Wanderer profile will be more let's take the tools from Linka and go play it in Wanderer with Carlina. That's probably how I'll do that video, because I think that will be better suited. Like, I don't necessarily think there's anything in Wanderer specifically for Linka that you're not just like, well, why don't we just go play Carlina instead? Because we have the option to, is kind of where I'm thinking there. But we'll see. Yeah, the lore is very cool. It's very well written. So let's talk about our next ruler. This is Symphony, Raven's Order Class B representative. Okay. Class rep, human, student, warlock, divinity 1. You may play dual attribute, light, darkness, student cards from your hand by paying 1 white. You may play from your hand or white and black from the graveyard rather than paying their cost. By the way, this does mean that it gets around Remnant, so she can just cast all of her dual attribute students over and over again. That's kind of neat. At the end of turn, so every single turn, if the turn player played exactly 1 spell, put a merit counter on this card. Otherwise, put a detention counter on this card. Fire up those counter trackers, boys. Judgments for 4 will. Play this ability only if you control a card with Pact in your name. And then we flip over into the Prodigy Demonic Student. 1,000, 1,200 with Divinity 3, Flying, Terrifying, and Drain. Enter. She's a glorified giant enter effect. If there is a combined number of 10 or more detention counters and or merit counters on this card, perform the following among the following effects that share a name with the highest number. So if they're tied, you get both. Detention. Each player expels the top X cards of their deck and all cards in their graveyards, where X is the number of cards in their deck minus 2. So you just leave everyone with 2 cards left in your deck. Or merit, you gain. Each other player can only play 1 spell per turn until end of game, and then destroy all non-Magic Stone entities you don't control. So, reset. So, the detention part is like, the game's over in a second. And the merit part is, we're going to wipe everything and force you to start over, but really slow. Go back to square one, essentially. That's a pretty powerful enter effect. I think in Wanderer, it's pretty, like, we have ways to be able to interact with it. It's not really concerning in that regard. Her judgment is 4. It's very expensive. In Paradox, it might be a little bit scarier. We just don't have a lot of ways to stop enter effects right now. Ray Asdable comes to mind as a way to stop enter effects, but he has Barrier, which then Fossil Girl is a way to be able to interact with it, right? Statline wise, she is very large just by herself, but that enter effect is clearly where Symphony is like trying to make her mark, right? Of getting that enter to resolve and kind of like lock the game out at that point. Pretty cool. So I foresee like a pretty heavy like discard oriented version from like play for her. Just in general, like knowing when to judgment, knowing when to flip to like guarantee that outcome, kind of a piece.
Yeah, I'll have more after the rest of the support because I've been thinking about this ruler a lot.
Yeah. We have Taking Attendance, the official artwork for it. I like the promo artwork for it a lot better, but we've already talked about this effect before. It's fine. It's probably an auto, like, it's probably the auto include rune for Symphony, right? Like, just like Carlina's is the auto include for Carlina, this is the auto include for Symphony. It's free for her. So just check the top 5. Okay. Then we got her sister, Iris, Symphony's sibling. 1 white, 1 black. Student, so she'd be able to cast it from 1 from hand. Mythic, Defiant 2, and Bane. 2/5. Misfit, pay 1 white and 1 void. Remove a merit counter from a J ruler you control. Put a card from your graveyard into your hand. And Teacher's Pet for tap and a black, and remove a detention counter from a J ruler you control to destroy something. Play only 1 Teacher's Pet ability per turn. That ability is going to come insanely handy for dealing with Aegis. I've said this a lot, that tap effects are going to be are probably in Paradox going to come back in a really big way, because you want to be able to answer Aegis, and ta-da, we have a tap ability that can be used at instant speed to then deal with stuff with Aegis. So like this is going to be an important card. Solo mode, whenever another player plays a spell, if it was the second edition spell they played this turn, the second chant they played this turn, or the second resonator spell they played this turn, you draw a card. So that can trigger up to 3, that can draw you up to 3 cards per turn based on how nuts your opponent goes. Because if they played 2 chants, then you draw a card. If they play 2 if they play 2 resonators, you draw a card. And if they play 2 additions, you draw a card. Triggers. This is why she has
triggers.
This is why she has Mythic. so like,
yeah,
Symphony is very clearly trying to like punish. Like, she's trying to say, sit up, pay attention, play slow. Like, the entire archetype feels like a Death and Taxes stun style deck, right? That like you can try to rush her down, but you'll reward her by doing so, and therefore it can get a little greedy. But if you try to play too slow, she might set up this big bombastic flip at the end. So it's like finding the pace against Symphony, I think, is going to be the biggest kind of outlier, especially in Paradox.
Yeah. I mean, the game turns into either play by Symphony's rules, or if you don't, she's going to flip and take all of your cards and eat them out of the game except for 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. If you do obey the rules, cool. Now you really have to obey the rules. With like, you don't have a choice now. Also, everything's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. This deck has been interesting to me to like wrap my head around, because there's very much like a Zaki vibe in this for me, like flavor wise.
Yeah. I think to me the interesting part, there's this element of I need to see all of the primary support for each ruler has been dual color, right? So like all of Nero's support is blue green, all of Carlina's support or Linka's support is green white, all of Symphony's support is black white. But they packed with rulers who potentially add a third color. So then the question is like, but those ruler packs might be more generic. So then the question is like, how is the customization and flash out going to possibly change for these rulers based on what potential third color you add, based on what packs you're using? And so there's a lot of like, there is a lot of unknowns with these rulers still, because I think based on if they can use multiple packs, the pact you pick and the generic support that's in line with the color for that pact is going to play an impact in this, right? So it's very like, these rulers are still very like amorphous right now, where I'm not quite sure where they're going to land, which is kind of really exciting. It keeps me like on the edge of my seat as spoiler season is going on, because it's like, oh, I have no idea what this ruler is going to end up looking like, but I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Baroost cards bring to Symphony and Linka and Nero.
Yeah.
Because we're just getting red added to them. So there's a lot of really interesting things that can happen with that. I think with Symphony specifically, Symbol of Magical Fraying would be really good.
Yeah, for sure. Adding Symbol of Magical Fraying for her will certainly go a long way, I think, for sure. Murmuring Students of the Raven's Order. Another student, 2/6 with Drain and Barrier. You, the player, Drain Barrier. Class rules at the end of the turn. If the player played exactly 1 spell this turn, they get a merit counter. Otherwise, you get a detention counter. You can accelerate. Outnumber. If you would draw any number of cards, you gain 200 life. Perform 4C1, and then put the top card of your deck into your hand instead. Symphony, like, absolutely 1,000,000%, if she can get a good line on, will play Sphinx.
Oh, you mean the new Sphinx?
The new Sphinx. She absolutely will. Because this card exists, because she gets to pick which replacement effect would apply to her draws. So she would just be like, well, instead of drawing, I will gain 2 4C and add it to my hand instead. Meanwhile, you, the person stuck playing 1 card a turn, also can't draw. Like, she will a 1,000,000% main Sphinxes. Like, absolutely.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same Morgiana effect. Like, Morgiana and Sphinx lets you bypass Sphinx. Like, Symphony's a stun deck. She's 1,000,000% going to play Sphinx if she can keep this live. So keep that in mind. And then we have Dripla, the goddess, the Gossip Queen. What a name. 3-cost human student warlock. so she can play it for 1. 4 or 5 with barrier total cost 1 or less. Enter. Each player that controls an odd number of additions gains 1,000 life and banishes an addition entity they control. Each other player discards a card, searches their deck for an addition card, reveals it, and puts it into their hand, then shuffles their deck. Class rules at end of turn. So here's my thing about it, a Vihola card. Yeah, so here's the thing about Dripla. If you play this as your turn 1, you don't control an odd number of additions. So she just makes you discard a card, search for an addition, and then put it in your hand. And also makes your opponent do that. So if they're not playing additions, this is also just make your opponent discard 1.
Yeah.
Makes me curious what additions we're going to see played in Symphony. We haven't seen any for her as of yet. Symbol of Magical... No, that's not true. It's an addition. Symbol of Magical Fraying is an addition.
So each other player discards a card.
Yeah, each player that controls
Okay,
a number
it's
of odd
referencing.
additions.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's referencing
I get what it's doing.
It's referencing the people who didn't gain 1,000 life and banish an addition. So because you don't have an odd number, because you have 0, you get to discard a card and go search for an addition, put it in your hand.
So one of my people at my locals is really invested in Symphony already.
Great.
And he's thinking about getting 6th boon because it's an addition.
The black
and
white
the
one.
only way to get the black white one that also like taps and taxes God's Arts and
that's interesting. I like that.
That's very fascinating. I'm like, all right, okay, I see what you do.
Symphony's going to be really interesting to build. Now, obviously, that doesn't work in Paradox, but in Wanderer, that's a very neat idea. I also think of, like, if you're thinking about, like, other editions, right? If you're thinking, like, Death and Taxes built for other editions, I think of, like, that are in black-white. I think of, like, Belial's Castle, right? Make all damage,
very
reduce
good.
by 400, produce a dude every turn, like, helps with outnumber, right? In the same vein, like, is not a spell, so she can try to play 1 spell per turn. I think of things like, Terrible Prophecy. I think of things like Curse of Caduceus. Like, there's a lot of really good additions that you can go. I also think of, like, if we're talking Paradox, everything Wonder, right? Road to the Sacred Queen.
Oh gosh,
like, just
very good.
Play Dripla on 1, search Road to the Sacred Queen. Next turn, play Road to the Sacred Queen. Everything's coming into play tapped. Like, as a Death and Taxes. Like, there's so many good Death and Taxes additions that, like, Dripla, if you're playing in that vein, is probably a 4 of for Symphony. Because don't keep in mind, if you kill it, she can recast it from the graveyard too. Like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Including this addition rune that she gets.
Yeah.
Right?
Which we're about to talk about. The glyph.
Yeah.
Where is it? Why do I not? Yes, here it is. Scholarly Glyph of Prestigious Pride. An addition rune glyph, Divinity 5. Enter. Destroy all additions and resonators of total cost 1 or less. Notably, her stuff is higher costed. She just pays 1 for it. Rune white and black. Prevent the first damage that would be dealt to you each turn. We kind of talked about Death and Taxes. Anyway, whenever you play a spell, if it was the second spell you played this turn, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. If you do, banish this card. That one's a little bit weird to me, but it is kind of like strangely enforcing herself only playing 1 spell per turn, right? Because, like, if she overcommits, she, like, broke the rules and then she has to get rid of something. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it fills up the graveyard so you can cast students from the graveyard.
That's true.
It also puts if you said something about being able to cast additions from the grave as well. Is that something you can do with Symphony's front side?
No. I was talking about, like, she casts students from the graveyard and she wants additions that are, like, going to have activate abilities so that she can play by the rules, I think is where I landed there.
Okay. So, I mean, there's potential
Yeah.
for I think there's potential for this card.
Yeah.
I think it's awful.
She's probably also going to play tanks.
I would play tanks.
I mean, it's mana dork, and it's
More mana.
It's activate ability stuff, right? Like, she has that same vibe of like, it has that same kind of vibe as like you'll see this week of like Solaria's Wind in Fox. Like, I'm a very heavy activate ability deck, so putting Staxes on the play space that forces us to not be able to play or punished for playing a lot of different cards, and then saying, well, that doesn't apply to me because I'm actually doing activate abilities instead. That's the similar kind of gameplay feel that I think Symphony's going to bring to the table, which I think is going to be really interesting. Yeah, I broke the rules, so I must punish myself. Yep, for sure. And then that's all the Symphony cards we have so far.
Yeah.
I do want to go into the cards that were spoiled in the wonderful video from I Spy this week. Everyone should absolutely go check that video out. We have cards, the special magic stones from the starter deck. This is the Vestige of Velmardia's Grace. It is a stone that does not have a stone type. Keep that into the field. It is an Overlord stone. If you already control an Overlord magic stone, this card enters the field rested. Tap, produce 1 will of any attribute shared with a J ruler you control. And God's Art of Silent Prayer. Produce 2 wills of an attribute shared with a J ruler you control. Spend this will only to play Warden Processes. Alejandro, what is a Warden Process? Because right now we're wondering, does that mean that wardens aren't spells? Or so therefore it's only, or is this only usable for judgmenting a warden? Like, where are we at here? Is my question with what that text means. That being said, I'm playing one of these stones in Fox. What do you mean it's a stone that I can or sorry, not like yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm willing to bet it's the process of doing judgment of the warden. I'm willing to bet that.
Alejandro's not sharing, and it makes me sad.
All right. I understand. We gotta keep him in his job. He's doing a great job.
He is doing a great job.
Keep him in his job.
So let's look at 3 more cards then. So I suddenly became a prophet, and I was talking about how Heteroclite Excalibur was a great card to be able to deal with Aegis. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's not in Paradox. Oh, wait, it is in Paradox. Ta-da.
There it is.
It's there.
You found it.
I found it. Heteroclite Excalibur, the Blade of Vengeance, a 2 void. You cannot play cards that share a name with this card or put them into the field in any way. So there can only be one. Added Resonator, loses and cannot gain Eternal, Aegis, and Barrier, and gains plus 700 attack, Bloodlust, Precision, and J Resonators you don't control must block this card if able. Okay. When added Resonator leaves the field, add this card to a Resonator controlled by a player other than the added Resonator's controller, aka the cycle of death continues anew. For everyone, as long as this card exists on the field. And taps, bestow, play this ability only if this card is not added to a Resonator. Yeah. Very thematic.
Yeah.
Very neat.
I'm starting to wonder if this is where Lapis parked Heteroclite Excalibur after he wins in that timeline.
Left it behind.
Like,
He
cool.
was like,
here, let's just put it in Yeoman Guard for safekeeping. And then goes off and is like, dark magic instead.
Yeah, we got Soul Eating Curse now. We're good. Very neat card. Very neat card. It feels very Paradox coded. I'm sorry. It feels very Paradox and ABC coded. Like, this is a very cool ABC card, right?
Yeah.
But this feels very Paradox coded. I think this card is probably unplayable in Wanderer. It's only a rare, which is fine. Unless we had a way to cheat out a Void Regalia, I could see it. But, like, it's Wanderer. It's Paradox coded, which is fine. Cards can be Paradox coded. Speaking of not so paradox coded, this is Pax Astral, Lionel's Sword. Although I will say that this is probably usable for Matilda, since she can like reveal it and grab it and produce extra will to play bestow stuff. So maybe if you're a bestow heavy deck, I could see this maybe getting splashed into Wanderer, right? Because there's ways to cheat in things with bestow. Maybe. Anyway. Pax Astral, Lionel's Sword. Two white regalia with Mythic, Eternal, and Barrier. J Resonators with Swiftness, but without Blood Trail. Enter the field rested. Mwah! Mwah! Added, it is both sides, by the way. Added Resonator gains +X, where X is the number of notch counters on this card. At the beginning of the game, if you don't control a Darkness Ruler or a Warlock Ruler, put this card from your hand into the field. Whenever a Resonator enters the field, put a notch counter on this card. So, yeah, constantly getting bigger every single time a Resonator enters on either side of the field. I would like to point out that currently in the Matilda deck, we have a bunch of things that make a bunch of light tokens. So, you know,
It's gonna be good.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This card is cracked. I love it.
It's very cool. It's a very cool one.
It's very, very cool.
Next up, we have... why won't this move? Okay, I'll move it this way. I'll move us over. Morgana, the professor of glyphology. 1 white, 1 blue, 5/7, untouchable.
Other way.
Yeah, other way. A 1 black, 1 blue, 5/7 with untouchable Vileborn 3. Enter. The attack of target J/Resonator becomes 0 as long as this card's in the field. If you control a Warden, it becomes 0 until the end of the game. And then you can tap it and play blue or black, search for a Glyph Edition, reveal it and put it into your hand, and for a card named Brutal Majin and put it into the field and shuffle your deck. It is a Wanderer card. Brutal Majin was in, I believe, in 11/11. I'm going to search it up just to make sure I have the stats of it right. Force of Wind. Brutal Majin. So Brutal Majin was a 4-drop 10/10 with Bane. That it says if your opponent controls a J/Resonator with attack of 0 or less, it pays 3 less. And on enter, it destroys target Resonator of attack of 0 or less. So like the thing that she's made tiny. Seems pretty good. I would like to point out a few things lore-wise. First off, the artwork of this card is Brutal Majin that she is subjugating, which is interesting because in the Brutal Majin art, Valentina is also in the art, and the flavor text talks about how Valentina is like taking the demon for her own personal collection. So that's kind of neat. I'd also like to point out that that is 1,000,000% Gleipnir, the Red String of Fate in that card art. So Morgana Valentina confirmed. We found her. We were wondering where Valentina was. Found her. That's what I'm thinking. Alejandro's laughing at my called shot because I might be wrong, but definitely gives the vibe that this is just the next body that Valentina in this Paradox timeline has, especially since we've seen statues of Valentina like around the university, right? But it's been
the
a
porcelain
long time.
statue
The porcelain
specifically.
statue specifically, which makes me think that like if she's historical, then that probably is also, by the way, in the artwork for the stone that we first showed. The porcelain statues in the
Yes,
stone,
it is.
which makes me think that Valentina has to have body swapped at some point in time. And I don't think Valentina would willingly give up Gleipnir to anyone. So definitely feels like Morgana is probably Valentina just hiding out.
I'm also going to say maybe, just maybe, Valentina is headmistress.
Maybe, possibly. So there is also the note of like in the lore article of all of the students, the way Morgana goes with all of her students is that she's able to body swap because she sends a little doll with every single one of the students, and then she can body swap between them to be with all of her students at once. Seems very Valentina coded.
Good theories. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. in general, Morgana is a very cool card. I think it's very cool. I think it's a solid card. It's only a normal. It does have to target something, which interestingly enough means that she does need something on field to be able to target, or she will have to target herself and make herself a 0/7. Which is interestingly enough, it's only, she doesn't have any form of natural protection, but she has punishment for trying to target her as a Vileborn. It's kind of a low Vileborn number, which I think is fine. You think she's the god? Yeah. I know your theory is that Velmar is actually Valentina, which is also a pretty interesting theory, Jess Wayne. It's a different color combination, but I don't know. Princess of Love, yeah, I get it. She feels fine. Like, Morgana feels like a cool card. She's not in the starter deck as far as I can tell. She's in DRC. She's a normal, very paradox coded, even though the brutal Majin is Wanderer coded. So like her being a 2-drop untouchable 5/7, I think is still just like that's a good stat line for a 2-drop. So I definitely think that there could worlds that we could see play. She also automatically goes into Val 4 or Val 3, right? Because Val 3 also wants the be able to stat kill stuff that has stats changed at all, right? And it works in the same way. So I like it a lot. Cool card.
Yeah, cool card.
Cool cards are
Will agree.
cool.
Now we get to talk about tonight's
Valentio. Little douche.
What?
little cocky prick. Again, read the lore. Raven's Order Class A's representative Valentio. Divinity 1, as the game starts, put 9 elite counters on this card. He gains the following text based on the number of elite counters on it, which means that at the start of the game, he'll get all 4 of these effects, and then he'll get worse and worse as time goes on, as he becomes less popular. Because he's shown to be the little shit that he is. At the beginning of your turn, remove an elite counter from this card. Pay at 3. At the beginning of your draw phase, force 1, so he gets to kind of know what his draw is going to be. Resonators you control gain plus 200 and Aegis as long as you have 5. And at 7, you can pay blue and red, discard a card to gain control of a resonator with total cost 2. Only judgments for 3. I really hate this kid. Listen. My man came out of the blue and challenged Nero to a duel for absolutely no reason other than to be a dick. So I'm not really a fan of this guy. He becomes the arrogant demonic prince. He is a 10/12 with Divinity 3, Bloodlust, Precision, and Flying. Enter, remove all elite counters from this card. If you removed at least 4 or less this way, perform the following effects based on the numbers you did. On 1, if you only removed 1, or 3, 2, or 1, you discard your hand, draw 4 cards, and then deal 200 damage to each other player for each non-chant card in your graveyard. And then 4, you may play cards from your graveyard, and if a card would be put into graveyard from anywhere, expel it instead until end of game. That's if you have exactly 4 counters when you pull him. So if you flip him sooner, you get more value out of him, essentially. Everything getting plus 200 attack and Aegis for your first 4 turns seems pretty good. Yeah, that's definitely, that seems like it's going to be a big part of him for sure. I just wonder what resonators he's going to play into. Paul, any initial thoughts on Valentio?
When I first read this ruler, I was very interested because it just seems very progressive the way this ruler is able to work. And so very attracted to that tempo style of gameplay. But the thing I'm most thinking about is the artist is Ishisho.
Yeah, I know. It's a Valentina thing. The name is also very Valentina coded. There's three theories. There's 3 theories right now. I think Valentio is the least likely to be Valentina, and here's why. He dead. And Valentina ain't going out like a chump. The crown is also Valentina's crown. That's true. I think Valentio is named after the true name of Valentina from when she was like his like royal family, kind of like the headmaster, everything. I don't think it's actually Valentina. In the lore, Valentio dies. So like Valentina,
They're related.
they're probably related in some way or somehow, or again like named in homage to the god, like to Valentina,
Son?
right?
Son.
Maybe. But again,
Son.
Valentina ain't going out like a chump, and this guy went out like a chump in the lore. Man forms a contract with a demon by killing his girlfriend, and then the demon's like, good job. Also, psych, reanimated your girlfriend. Girlfriend's gonna kill you. And then that is exactly what happens. Like,
Death is never absolute.
yeah, I don't know. He's not
I
Valentina.
gotta catch up to the lore.
He's not Valentina because Valentina would never get iced like that. She's just not gonna go down like a chump.
No. This is definitely Sun.
At
I'm
most.
on the Sun train.
So let's talk about his first card that we've seen. It's very early in the Valentio spoilers. We got a lot more stuff to talk about with Valentio. Show don't tell. You pay 1 blue or 1 red less to play this card from a rune area. If it's the first show don't tell you played this game. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Put 1 of them into your hand, 1 of them into your graveyard, and remove 1 from the game. If you control a dual attribute, fire, water, blah, 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 remove an elite counter from him. If you do, the card removed from play this way gains. You may play this card from your removed area as long as it's in your removed area. So essentially 1 draw 2 at the cost of a what counter? What is it? Popularity counter? I don't remember. Elite counter, which is fine because you start with 9. And so like 7 is like the first threshold. So this is also the auto include rune for Valentio, right? It's quick cast. It's 1 drop. It's essentially draw 2. It's going to be included in Valentio 100% of the time because the first 2 elite counters don't matter. So you're okay. Faster than our favorite. In fact, of the lore, Valgot can recall demons if they died being demons. That's true. That is true. So Valentio did successfully become a demon. So now Valgot can reanimate him. So I guess he's not dead. But like, again, Valentina ain't a chump. Like, she's not going to go down like that and then be like permanently enslaved by Valgot. Like, it's just not how she rolls.
Yeah, that's not interesting. Son.
Benefits of being a time traveler. You get to go into the future. You know what's coming, Alejandro. Show don't tell, good song. Favorite red. He knows the red cards before I can even see them. Unfair advantage. Talking about his family being important, and if Valentina's statue being present means anything to like the school, their world, then him being a descendant of some kind. Yeah, like I said, or like again, I think it's like, or like he was named in homage to Valentina by this family that was put in power by Valentina, perhaps, right? Like the like there's a lot of potential theory
Same
here.
crown, same hair, similar name, weird crown thingy winning judgments into a demon, like the puppet crown
Shenanigans
thing.
Yeah.
Princess of Love indicates that she has maybe some desires for progeny. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Interesting that Valentina's back in some way. She's here somewhere. Somebody get Zachy on the case, please. Go solving for clues. It's very cool stuff. I'm excited to see what the rest of his support cards are. Oh, do I have... Actually, there are 4 other cards that I don't... Bring back Barry Billy Smasher again. There actually are... Did I talk about... We haven't talked about the exclusive spoilers from...
Only Foul.
From Only
right?
Foul. I did not grab those. Oh, man, that's a bummer that I didn't grab those.
Let me see if I can go grab those.
Hold on. I think I can also grab
And send
them
them to
real
you.
quick. Hold on. Let's go Discord. In our group chat. talked about some. Apologies, Alejandro, that I didn't have those ready to go. Check out Only fowtcg over on Patreon. Alejandro, please feel free to put your link in the chat. If you want to send them to me, that's fine. You can do that too. Otherwise, I'll go find them. Let's talk about it. We got 4 cards, which are more of the generic single color cards, which I think is interesting. Where is Team Oopie Goopy? There it is.
That's the new team name. Is
Team
Oopie Goopy.
Team Oopie Goopy is what we've been. Okay, I found it. Here we go. Desktop smart selection. So we got 4 cards here. First up is Defenders of the Lower Plateau Wall. 1 cost 1/3 untouchable barrier, total cost 1 or less. Enter. It gets a 1/3 Night Resonator token with barrier 1 or less, and tap. Change the target of a spell or ability with a single target to this card into the field. Outnumber. Shift change. Whenever another player plays a non-resonator spell, draw a card unless that player plays X, where X is the card's attack of this card divided by 100 once per turn. There's a card that does this in Magic. I don't remember what its name is. Esper Sentinel, I think is what it's called in Magic. I like that this card essentially is Esper Sentinel, but at the same time, like, can be negated by if you have more resonators than your opponent. That like Esper Sentinel part can go away. Untouchable barrier, total cost 1 or less. This is neat. This is a cool card to introduce. We're having a lot of like, I'm feeling stun. I like bringing stun back. I've Paul knows that I've always been an enjoyer of stun, and so it's cool to get some elements of that back. I think this card will be cool in ABC. I think this card will be cool in regular play. It feels very fair. Feels very like approachable. Has some natural built-in protection, I think, because of it, but has vulnerability options. It's like small stat wise. I'm just gonna say this out loud. This next format in Paradox, if you are in darkness at all or have a way to splash darkness, start playing 1-hit KOs. Seriously, start playing that card. That card is so underrated and so underused. It's just, I don't know, it's just so good.
It's true.
It's so good. Card is so good.
He converted me.
And this is a great example of it. Of just like 1-hit KO. You got barrier? Yeah, that's fine. Your stats are tiny. Die.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Next up we have this is the one that I really like. This is my favorite of the 4. Engraved Rune of the Setting Sun. It is a 1-cost quick cast untouchable addition glyph. Enter. You gain life equal to the amount of life you lost this turn due to non-battle damage, loss of life effects, or abilities from sources you didn't control. Shuffle all non-magic stone cards from your graveyard and removed area into your deck. At end of turn, this card's controller banishes it. Divinity 7, solo mode. Regalia without bestow and non-light glyph additions list all of their abilities. Fates Reunited. Yo Midgard. At the beginning of the game, reveal this card you own from outside the game and keep it revealed until end of game. You may play it from outside the game as long as it's revealed. This card is so... This card was 100% needed for Paradox, like 1,000,000%, because of like things like Hachisuka. Like a way to interact with Hachisuka's mill out element was like really, really good. We didn't have a horn type effect in general in Paradox, least of all for the RFG. This also is a good way to mess with Galapis. Like he's gotten rid of your whole deck and you're just like, okay. This also is like a mini GST for some of the problematic like additions that exist in the environment. Like you get like
unlock.
You get like a turn to like push through, right? Which I think is really cool. Like this, again, for a green deck, for instance, that's playing addition hate in the form of Fossil Girl, right? You could go flash this, blank the additions for the turn, like Yo Midgard, and then Fossil Girl the Yo Midgard and get it off the field because it no longer has barrier green. Like there's this card is very, very good. It's cool to have in sideboards based on the meta. You could see it getting mainboarded or not. Like I really, really enjoy this card a lot. And it's designed really well in the sense that like it is only a turn. There's no way to like cheese it really and then also get the value off of it because the enter effect creates the delayed trigger to have to banish it.
This won't resolve with Yo Midgard on field.
It has untouchable. Yo Midgard can't remove it from the game. Doesn't it? It'll go.
It
Oh,
just
right. It'll go to the graveyard instead. Oh, that's right. Never mind. But for other things like Fates Reunited or other Toxic editions, it can do that.
Yeah, this card is really good.
Thanks for correcting me there, guys.
It's good to have a Rage of Lumia effect that is now like baked into Paradox as opposed to in a masterpiece.
Well, Fates doesn't.
Right?
Sorry, Jeremy Lindley. I mean, for Fates Reunited to be able to turn off its like barrier for the turn and then spot remove it, right? Like you can have a turn to try to like buffer yourself to then spot remove it or something like that into some of the problematic ones.
Yeah,
I
like,
recognize that the girl staring
regalia
at
removal.
Yeah, I recognize that the girl staring at part of it like doesn't stop Fates Reunited from stopping you from using those cards, but it does like give you a turn to then try to spot remove it and get it off the board. It's like I said, it's like it's like a third of a GST, which sometimes is all you really need to be able to push through a moment. Like you just need that flash of a moment to get through.
So like considering the decks that this is probably going to be used in, like Matilda, and if Symphony packs with Baroost to gain access to Firewill, we'll be able to play Anti-Magic Elixir to just get rid of things like a Regalia that's giving us trouble.
Right.
Star Scale.
Oh, that's true.
Fates Reunited, things like that. So
could get rid of things like Grimoire, Star Scale, Ice Shards in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Does it stop any edition that isn't a light glyph? I believe so.
Yeah, non-light glyph editions. So light glyph editions are safe.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Does it only hit glyph editions?
Yeah, Regalia without Bestow.
It is editions that
non-light glyph editions.
It is any editions that are not light. Okay, hold on. This is really important for us to understand. Let's say an edition. Let's say Magic Stone Research Institute, because it's Paul. That is not a light glyph edition. Is it blanked for the turn by this card? That's all Alejandra's going to answer us in the chat. Let's give him an example to like do it. Yes, it is blanked. Okay, great. So it's blanking any type of edition that is not a light glyph. Any other type of edition gets blanked by this card. Shupo, you do like that card too. That's fine. I just have Paul here. Anyway, I really like this card. I'm glad to have it. Next up, we have the Vengeful Skeleton of the Fumaroles. It's a 3-cost Wicked Spirits. Blood Trail. Its base stats is 5/2. Can't really see it on how I have it on the screen. Has Blood Trail and Bloodlust. Insidious Laughter. You can play it from the graveyard by paying its specific cost, which is 1 red. You can only do that once per turn. When this card attacks, you produce a red. Spend this will only to play non-resonator spells or activate abilities of book entities you control. Books, you say?
The deck that is certainly not dead, as we saw this past weekend.
Yeah, although book entities, right? So it doesn't hit like rulers or whatever, but yeah. Reanimating guy go fast that make will for burn spells? Yes, please. That's true. It has the potential to go fast as long as other stuff has attacked. It's like snowballing for red, which I think is very neat. You know what else is really good against this card? One-hit KO anesthesia.
Gosh.
I'm up to 3.
Play it next year.
I'm up to 3. I'm up to 3, boys. And then lastly, we have Crystal Hearted Slime. 2 green and X overgrowth 5/5. Enter, gain X void will coin tokens. So like refunds itself through void. Removing a +1/+1 counter from this card. Cancel a spell or ability targeting this card, and then it has outnumber. At the end of the turn, if you control a light resonator or a darkness resonator, it gets 2 +1/+1 counters. I am a Mr. One-Hit KO enthusiast. I like that card a lot. I think it's underrepresented. I think it's great.
Remnant.
It does. Crystal Hearted Slime is a normal. I can't give a judgment on this card because it comes in with 1 +1/+1 counter because of overgrowth. unless you're like playing it later. And I guess in some ways it like refunds itself potentially. I need to know what we're using void will coin tokens for. Right? I guess technically, so I guess there's a world where this could pair well with Linka because she wants to like produce will to play resonators of total cost 4 or more. So then you like weirdly enough can take her ability to like the additions ability to pay into it and then convert it into void that can be used for anything else. Does that make sense?
Alejandro is saying we need to see another pact before this makes sense.
That makes sense. I would like to point out that like this is like ooze, right? And it does look like mushroomy, slimy. And we know that there are four domains. There's the endless chasm, there's the fire swamps or whatever, there's the tar pits, and then there's the like mushroom forest, which does make me think that and there's 4 pacts, which means there's 4 demons. And we're pretty sure that Diabolos is one of them because we got the new Diabolos promo art. This is probably related to maybe the mushroom area related and whatever that demon is associated with. The fun thing about this to me with the lore articles coming out so soon is it has actually made speculation about what's in the set we have breadcrumbs, right? We can actually like point to stuff and be like, I think this is it, which has made the speculation and the discussion a lot of fun. And it makes spoiler season really interesting for me. Abyss, Tar Swamp, Fumaroles, and then the Eclipse, and then the Chasm, which is is the Abyss the darkness? I don't know. Whatever. Tar Swamp,
probably.
Fumaroles. Eternal Infestation, Fumaroles, Abyss, Tar Swamp. Right. So we'll see what that looks like. But pretty exciting stuff. I'm excited. Congrats to, also as always, Only Foul getting some cool spoilers. We got Nope Angel, and they got the glyph, the Setting Sun glyph, which I think are both amazing cards. And I think glyph was needed for Paradox, so that was really exciting too.
Very much.
But yeah, that's it.
Is this now Oopie Goopy?
I think Hollow is Oopie Goopy. I think
Hollow has to be Oopie Goopy forever.
Yeah, I think he's Oopie Goopy for forever. Looking forward to a good round of spoilers. Next week, we might not have a podcast because I will be at a conference that we tried to do a podcast at last year from my hotel room, and the computer I had did not want to let us stream. So maybe not. We'll see. Maybe we'll do it a different night instead. Maybe we'll do it on Sunday night instead to like get caught up with spoilers. So we'll see what everyone's schedule is like. We might do a Sunday night podcast instead. So some end of piece housekeeping. Like Paul said, we'll have the tournament report up later this week. We'll also have the deck profile for the Abdul showed you as Luby, but a base set Abdul Sherry Dreams deck. As the feature match this week is Paul and I showing off. Paul's trying out Lucy again because we just kind of wanted to play with what we had. And I'm showing you off Solaria Virgil Fox because dang, that list is a lot of fun and really good. So you'll see that this week along with deck profiles for stuff like that. So check out the links in the description. As always, share it out with your friends. Thank you all so much for being here. And until next time, this has been myself, Demo73, and I've been joined as always by Paul Reisman.
Oopie Goopy.
Oopie Goopy. Class dismissed. Bye, guys.